The Power of Awareness. Chapter 18. Be Ye Doers. Written by Master Teacher and Mystic Neville Goddard in 1952. This is a reading accompanied by explanatory commentary and understanding with Robert Meade. Chapter 18. Be ye doers. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass, and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continue therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. James chapter 1, verses 22 through 25. Many of you may not be familiar with the Old King's English here stated in James 1:22 through 25. And so I'd like to read these same verses from the New International Version, which will help deepen our understanding and clarity. Here it is stated, "Do not merely listen to the word, and so deceive yourselves, but do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word, but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror, and after looking at himself, goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives him freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do." Neville now goes on to explain for us. Notice the word in this quotation means idea, concept, or desire. You deceive yourself by hearing only when you expect your desire to be fulfilled through mere wishful thinking. Your desire is what you want to be. And looking at yourself in a glass is seeing yourself in imagination as that person. So you've taken the initial step. You've listened to the word being the idea, concept, or desire. And this is a desire or a goal of something you want to be. And you've actually as if looked into a mirror and said, "This is what I'm going to do." And you've even heard yourself say it. You've said it within, perhaps. But as it turns out, this could be just mere wishful thinking if you don't take further action and become a doer. How can we be a doer and not be a forgetful hearer? Let's follow Neville as he continues. "Forgetting what manner of man you are is failing to persist in your assumption. The perfect law of liberty is the law which makes possible liberation from limitation, that is, the law of assumption. It's as if we have our own self-given assignment. We've chosen a goal. Perhaps we've even written it out and started to imagine what it would look like to be that person, to have that idea, concept, or desire manifest in our lives. And yet, we walk away from it in a sense. It's as if we see ourselves in the mirror as that person. We even perhaps listen to it. We listen to that word or idea initially, but then we walk away and we become forgetful, which basically means that we don't persist. So you need to persist in the law of assumption once you have chosen your goal if you want to have success in achieving it. Neville now tells us how we can avoid being that person, the one who walks away from the goal that they know would be life-changing in their favor. He states, "To continue in the perfect law of liberty is to persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. You're not a forgetful hearer when you keep the feeling of your wish fulfilled constantly alive in your consciousness. Yes, we keep it constantly alive through the practice of the law of assumption, as we've outlined before and in my other videos, by having your desire, using the meditative practices to imagine and assume that your desire is already fulfilled, vividly seeing, feeling, hearing, and actually see yourself doing and being repeatedly, night after night in those meditations. By this manner, we keep it constantly alive in our consciousness, and then it unfolds in our actual world as that goal is fulfilled. Not forgetting it, notice how it emphasized that it's the feeling that we want to keep constantly alive. I recall in my own life, one of the practices I learned from Napoleon Hill and Bob Proctor, who was also a big fan of Neville Goddard, is to actually write out your goal, your idea, your concept, your desire, write it out, and then write it out in an abbreviated form on an index card and carry it in your pocket or in your pocketbook, and actually pull it out and look at it throughout the day. This will be a constant reminder and help it keep alive constantly in your consciousness as you review it throughout the day. Neville continues, this makes you a doer of the work, and you are blessed in your deed by the inevitable realization of your desire. Neville continues, you must be doers of the law of assumption, for without application, the most profound understanding will not produce any desired result. So one might ask, if a profound understanding is not what produces results, then why should we keep studying and reading and seeking a deeper understanding of how to apply the law of assumption? That's a good question. And the answer is quite simple. Most of us are forgetful, and we have a challenge staying focused on our goal. And so these serve as reminders to help us focus and concentrate our attention on our goal. Notice how beautifully Neville words it. Frequent reiteration and repetition of important basic truths runs through these pages. Where the law of assumption is concerned, the law that sets man free, this is a good thing. It should be made clear again and again, even at the risk of repetition. The real truth seeker will welcome this aid in concentrating his attention upon the law that sets him free. And so, yes, repetition and reiteration of these truths is very important. And you'll notice as you study and read and hear the similar basic truths repeated, which are actually extremely deep, this helps to keep you on track and motivated and focused on your goals and practicing, of course, the law of assumption. Neville now continues with a parable. And in this parable, it helps us again to appreciate the real need to be a doer and not a hearer only. You'll notice the word talent used. Talent in this story actually means a sum of money. And so Neville continues. The parable of the master's condemnation of the servant who neglected the use of the talent given him is clear and unmistakable. Having discovered within yourself the key to the treasure house, you should be like the good servant who by the wise use multiplied by many times the talents entrusted to him. The talent entrusted to you is the power to consciously determine your assumption. So we have been given a talent. By talent, not meaning a sum of money, but rather a greater value than money. And that is, notice, it's the power to consciously determine your assumption. So we have, as humans, the ability to make a choice. We can actually choose. We can determine what we would like to see result in our world. We can determine and choose our goal, our idea, our concept, our desire. And that is such an amazing gift given to us by our master from God. It's a talent that humans have. The power to choose what they would like to be, have, and do in their life. So just as that talent or money could receive a great return if invested properly, we are investing in our future when we exercise that power to use the law of assumption in our life. Neville then also compares it to the use or lack of use of our very own muscles. He goes on to say, the talent not used, like the limb not exercised, withers and finally atrophies. Yes, it is just as important as physical activity in keeping our muscles toned, keeping them effective and full of vigor, whereas a lack of use of our bodies, likewise, the lack of use of what is given to us to select and pursue our goals, the law of assumption, lack of using it will decline and it will become atrophied or waste away and become useless in our lives. Neville now takes a fresh approach to really help bring clarity. Notice, what you must strive after is being. In order to do, it is necessary to be. The end of yearning is to be. Your concept of yourself can only be driven out of consciousness by another concept of yourself. So, for example, if you consciously in your life believe, I just can't do that. I don't have the money for it. My family's always been poor and I'm poor also. I'm unhealthy. I don't have much. I have to do something about it, but I don't know what to do. I just don't have it. If that's what you believe you are, guess what? That is what you are. You have to drive that out. Replace it. How do you drive it out or replace it? You must replace it by driving it out of consciousness with another concept of yourself. I am healthy. I am wealthy. Yes, I can. Absolutely, I can do that. It has to be replaced with the concept that you actually not only can do that, but that you are that. So we're striving after being. I am abundant. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I do have that amazing partner. I do have that life on the beach. Yes, that is who you believe yourself to be. What you accept as true for you is your new concept. That's what you must have first before you'll actually see it unfold in your life. You must be it to see it. Neville now goes on to emphasize that by stating, by creating the ideal in your mind, you can now identify yourself with it until you become one and the same with the ideal, thereby transforming yourself into it. Friends, that was so good. Let's go over that paragraph one more time. By creating an ideal in your mind, Yes, you are in charge of you. You get to select, you get to choose, and create that vision, that life that you would like to have. You can imagine it vividly. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would the end result be for you if you accomplished your goal and were living that life? You can identify yourself with it until you become one and the same with the ideal. That is absolutely breathtaking if you think about it, friends. Becoming one and the same with the ideal by identifying yourself with it frequently enough in your imagination and in your meditation, imagining it as already yours. It is your life now. And by doing that practice again and again, particularly in meditation as you fall asleep, you can sound it down deeply into your subconscious, which is connected to all that needs to happen physically by you and others for your desire to come about. And so this is so critically important for us to fully understand. By these practices, you are therefore thereby transforming yourself into what you wish to be. Neville concludes, the dynamic prevails over the static, the active over the passive. The one who is a doer is magnetic and therefore infinitely more creative than any who merely hear. Therefore, be among the doers. This concludes our reading and explanation of Chapter 18. Chapter 19, Essentials, will actually outline 3 specific steps for you to be a doer, and I look forward to sharing that with you. And in the meantime, please see my channel, and thank you for not only subscribing, but I would love to see your comments, and I will leave you links for more from the power of awareness and the law of assumption and how to apply it in your lives.